Hey guys, it's Mike with CEP TV. We're on site today at one of our pools to talk about a couple of different things. Today what we want to focus on in this video is going to be chlorinators and the UV unit and the role that it plays. Let's just kind of walk you through a little bit of your chlorination system and what you should be looking for, how to test for it, and things of that nature. And we're going to start right now with what we include on every single one of our pools, and that's a chlorinator. Now this is a power clean CMP variable speed chlorinator. We love these things because they're one of the only ones that have a nice clear lid in here. You can see how much chlorine you have left in there, how much you need to work with. On a UV system, you're pretty much running through somewhere about 3/4 to 1 tablet per week. And that is adjusted on these chlorinators with this dial that's on the side. And you can actually see how much flow that's allowing through there. Why that's helpful is because that also kind of helps you to be able to gauge how much you really need to be sending through the chlorinator, and that's done by test strips and things which we're going to cover in a second. The chlorinator is always a part of our systems no matter what. It should be a part of any system. So if you have a pool guy that's coming out and dropping floaters in your pool, like baskets that float and dissolve chlorine, they don't understand the equipment, that should all be handled through this chlorinator right here. If it's functioning correctly, you should be able to adjust the dissolve rate and be able to run everything through the pad. That is working in conjunction with what we sell most of the time. We recommend a UV sterilizer. This right here is a CMP Dell UVC 50. This UV unit, we love this thing. It's just a fantastic, very efficient UV. This guy right here, if you have one of our pools, has a little indicator light on the side that's going to show you whether or not it's working. It's kind of real simple. If the green light's on, it's working. If the green light's off, it's not. Doesn't matter if your pool's on. If there's no green light, it's not working. What are some of the things that will keep it from working? Flow problems. Anytime that there's a restriction of flow coming through the system, most of this equipment is designed to protect itself. Meaning that if you have a clogged filter or if you have a skimmer where it's not able to draw the water fast enough and send it through the system, this guy's going to shut off so that you don't end up in a situation where you're burning bulbs out. It needs a certain amount of flow to go through it. Why UVs are so great is they just take light power instead of chemicals to kill every single celled organism or above. And that's great because that allows you to lower down the amount of chlorine that you're putting into the pool. And like I said, what we're seeing is instead of 3 to 4 tablets a week that people are going through in the summer here in Texas, what we see with a UV unit is you're down to about 3/4 to 1 tablet per week. If this guy is part of your system, fantastic decision. It can usually be added to any system if it's not. But in working in conjunction with the chlorinator, what you want to do is take and test your chlorine levels. So what we use here is a 7-way test strip. Doesn't really matter which brand you have, but any sort of 7-way test strip is going to work real well to be able to test everything at one time. They come out on a test strip that looks just like that before you put it in the water. Very important, by the way, that you keep these stored in a dry place. As soon as they become moist one way or another, they're kind of useless. All you're gonna do is you're gonna take this and you're gonna dip it into the water, hold it in for just a second, pull it back out, and then we're going to compare it to the chart that's right on the bottle. This is going to measure things like hardness, chlorine, free chlorine, pH, total alkalinity, and cyanuric acid. Today what we're focusing on is the chlorine, and you can see what's happened on this pool. We're off the chart. It's so much chlorine that's in this pool because the pool cleaner was using a floater, and it's put so much chlorine into this pool that it's literally off the charts. Total chlorine is the full amount of chlorine that you have in the pool water. Once this chlorine starts being attached to different contaminants, it creates something called chloramines. I mean, it's doing its job, it's attaching to these contaminants. Free chlorine tells you how much chlorine is left that's still able to do its job, if you will. When you come across and you see that your chlorine, especially with a UV unit, is off the charts on total chlorine, off the charts on free chlorine, it just means that there's so much stinking chlorine in this pool that, I mean, this is going to cause problems with your eyes hurting. If you have eczema problems or skin issues, it's going to cause problems with itching and all sorts of different things. And this happens from over-chlorinating a pool thinking that's how the problem is solved and not understanding the system. So it's just really important that if you're trying to get your chlorine right, that you're taking a look and you're kind of measuring it, I say on about every 4 days or so. And if you're in a situation like this is gonna need some time to dissipate. You're either gonna have to drain and refill to kind of dilute that, or just let some time go by, the rain will take care of it. In a situation where you do have a UV unit, most of the time you're going to be registering very, very low on your total chlorine. It's normal for your total chlorine to be somewhere in the 0 neighborhood, maybe climbing towards the 0.5, and for your free chlorine to be somewhere in the same neighborhood, maybe times a 0.5. If your pool contractor comes out here, he doesn't understand the UV system, he's here to clean your pool, he's gonna all of a sudden just throw more chlorine in the pool thinking that he's gotta get it up to that ideal range. He doesn't. A UV unit is designed to use hardly any chlorine. So if you have one of these systems, it's important that you understand this is one thing that's not going to fall into this okay or ideal category that's on your test strip bottle. And just make sure that you're, kind of monitoring it as it is. Don't use floaters. If your chlorinator, if you can't see it working one way or another, or if you don't have a CMP Power Clean, if you've got a different kind, just monitor it over a few days. If you can't seem to get the adjustment right, you might have a bad or clogged chlorinator, and in that case it's time to just replace it and have it taken care of. But anyways, hopefully this has given you all the information you'll ever want on chlorine in your pool and how your chlorinator and UVC system works. So we will see you on the next one.